I'm sure there are so many different definitions for trauma. For me, trauma is not the event itself, it's the consequence of the event. It's what happens to you when you're exposed to an adverse life event. So if there's a separation between your soul and yourself, that's what trauma is. And this causes confusion, fear, and anxiety, and self-doubt. Transformation is when we align your soul with yourself and you bring that self-confidence and you bring that clarity. This is what resonates with me, and this is how I look at trauma and how I define trauma. Trauma has a special way in affecting our thoughts, our behavior. Sometimes we don't connect the dots. We don't understand that a particular behavior comes from a traumatic event in the past. Let me explain how that can affect the performance of a CEO or a business owner or an entrepreneur. I'll use myself as an example. When I faced trauma in my childhood, I had the tendency to close down. Why? Everything that was stolen from me, I did not volunteer to lose them. I did not want to lose them. I did never volunteer to lose my security or my confidence. But when trauma happens and starts stealing things away from you, by force, your natural tendency is to close down. So becoming a controller becomes a behavior that you're embraced because of the past trauma. And having that controlling behavior might lead to losing employees because nobody wants to be micromanaged. So being a controller might be a direct effect of unresolved trauma. And that behavior can be reversed, can be addressed once we address the trauma and the cause of that behavior. Oh, absolutely. And they often manifest themselves in subtle ways. For example, difficulty managing stress, constant anxiety, living in fear, avoiding certain scenarios at work or in a social gathering, avoiding conflict resolutions, not being able to communicate clearly. All of these signs can tell us that there is unresolved trauma in the background that needs to be addressed. Trauma becomes part of you. It shapes you, it becomes part of your identity. It has some effect on you. What we're trying to do here is not to forget the trauma as if it never happened, because this will never happen. Trauma will always come back into your thoughts. The difference is how you respond to it, whether you'll be able to position it in a place where it no longer bothers you. You're still thinking clearly, you know, your mission and your purpose. Or are you still feeling unsatisfied? You feel the victim. You feel constantly anxious. You're in constant fear. You are not happy. You're trying to avoid social scenarios. That's when you know that trauma is still affecting you. So overcoming the trauma is more about putting it in a place where it's no longer affecting you. You know how to manage it. When you look at it, you actually think about the gift as opposed to the embracing the victim role. So can you ever get over trauma? The answer is no. Will you ever be able to control your thoughts about trauma? Absolutely. The Soul Warrior book lays out the foundation of how to reverse the lingering effects of trauma and how to respond to any adverse life event with a positive mindset. What doesn't come with the book is accountability. So having me as your personal trainer, I'll be your accountable partner that will be responsible for your progress. I'll be able to explain any questions you might have in regards to the concepts or training or exercises that I'm presenting to you. So having that accountability partner, it's like going to the gym. You will have more effects and more and better results when you have a personal trainer, as opposed to you reading a book about how to operate the machines in the gym. The mental fitness works the same way. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist. I don't prescribe medicine, and I don't come from a medical background. I'm not a guru. I'm not an influencer. I'm just a regular human being who happened to be an entrepreneur and went through a lot of traumatic events in my life. And I was able to find a system that keeps me grounded and focused. And that's what I want to share with you. I'm sharing something out of experience, not something out of a textbook. I'm sharing something that is guaranteed, something that will yield results, something that will bring your life back. Because I don't believe in happy pills. I don't believe in medication that will get you out of depression. That's called drugs, maybe. But there is no real pill that will show you why you were born. This is what I'm sharing with you. Of course, there are some cases that I do not work with, I don't even touch, just because I don't have the proper medical background in order for me to be of service to them. Some cases require medical intervention, medical supervision by the psychiatrist or the therapist or the medical doctor in general. I can work with them if they find that my My teaching is going to help the patient one way or another. But the minute I know that my client is already on medication, is already seeing a psychiatrist, and is facing a severe traumatic event, I might need to work with somebody because I'm not a medical doctor. I already work with cases that might be like minor depression, lack of confidence, lack of clarity, things that do not require medication, and things that don't have pills for, like happiness and confidence and any of that. So that what differentiates me between a psychiatrist, a therapist, and being a trainer. I hope that helps.